Hey you guys, it's Stephanie After Dark. I thought we would just sit in a dark room and talk about the death card. So I'm going to talk about why I love the death card and why I think it's the most misunderstood card in the deck. Basically, when you get the death card, it signifies a period of death of something in your life that isn't working for you. So it comes to an end, and with that, it regenerates something better for you. Okay. It hardly ever has to do with physical death. Although it can, you could get this card when people around you are going through a grieving process. That's happened to me before, but most often it's about change and mostly about your fear of change. So I'm going to go over what it could mean in different circumstances. Regarding work, it represents new beginnings. So if you're not feeling satisfied or undervalued at your job, it's time to keep an open mind to change. Start looking for something a little bit more fulfilling. In love, it's never a good sign to have the death card. It's a pretty good sign that something in that relationship isn't working. It's something that needs to be addressed, but it often could signify the death of the relationship. And with that begins almost like a new life. That's what you get. I mean, you always get a new life after every breakup, whether you want one or not. Whether you want one or not, you get to start over with a clean slate. So, yeah. Cool. When it comes to finances, it could signify sacrifices that you may have to make in the meantime to make ends meet and just keep a tight grip on your money. To ask for help when you need it. Spiritual advice. Your soul has outgrown its conditioning, and so you're about to get fitted with a new outlook. Could be a spiritual awakening, a psychic change, as we call it, change of heart, whatever it is that you're struggling against, which if we got it in reverse, that's all that would mean, is that you're struggling against the change. The change is going to happen whether you want it to or not. So be ready for it. There's always a lot of magic at the possibility of starting over. So that's what I see every time I see this card. Don't get me wrong, every time I get it, I call my friends and family and make sure people are okay. But most often for me, it has been about, I draw it when the conditions are not suitable for someone. In today's world, what do you think that it means? There's a lot of changes going on. The only constant this year has been change. It seems like they introduce something bad, and then that something bad gets worse, and then it goes away, and then it comes back, and then there's a new bad thing. It's almost like they're just making it up as they go along. There's so much confusion and so many people in the dark. Look at all this darkness. And the baby's trying to see the light of the butterflies. You gotta break through that darkness, bro. You gotta break through that darkness to transform into the light sometimes. You gotta look into it, see what it means. Death doesn't play favorites when it comes to age, race, preferences, anything, you know? It's much less discriminatory than we are. In order to appreciate life, you have to recognize the importance of death. A little piece of my ego dies each day. This is a good thing. This is something that I encourage, that I want to happen, because the more ego that dies, the less fucks I give about what people think. The more close I am to being strong, the more close I am to source and to getting, the access to having the life that I want and the clarity to know what it is and how I can best serve others. This is a sign that whatever you're doing is not working. In the larger case, I hope that the big change is a good one and not the one that I fear. A lot of the things I've been keeping track of are true. A lot of people are arrested. A lot of people have gotten in trouble. A lot of people are panicking. You don't want to be on the wrong side of this. And then on the micro scale, no one in life, like, I get to interact with sees, that they just kind of like to talk about the news, which I tend to stay away from. So I kind of get angry now when people bring up the news. And I used to do it all the time. I think it's something people do to like have something to talk about and like just sound like they know what they're talking about. But to be honest, doesn't always seem like they're just giving the point of view of the journalist, wherever they got it from. Like, I love people that are like, oh, I watch all the mainstream. Oh, so you watch all the bullshit? That's cool. If you're still watching mainstream media and thinking that you're getting the truth, I'm not going to say anything nasty like a lot of other channels do, but please stop. And just know that you will see the world in an entirely different way when you, number one, recognize the fact that you, as a human being with a mind, do have the ability to be brainwashed. Say, if you go from watching the news every day to not watching the news and going to the internet and getting familiar with the internet and the different sites and what's reputable and what's not and how we discern our information. That's the bigger thing we need to think about, is we have people like taking over for what the news is supposed to be doing. We have people taking over for the news, trying to adequately explain information, trying to adequately explain situations that are really going on, like Wayfair, things that are being censored. And there's a lot of censorship right now. So there's a lot of regular citizens that are like trying to bring the news to people, because right now, a lot of people in their homes in quarantine, not working or working from home, and the only reality they see is the TV screen, and the mainstream media is counting on this. So please turn it off. Please do yourself a favor and turn it off. Otherwise, you're going to eventually get to a point where if you watched it every day like I did, you'll start paying attention to like these key things, like the one interview that Fauci did where he said that masks are just to make people feel good. He said that masks are really just to make people feel good. They don't and he said the same thing that a lot of doctors now even say. But no, now masks are a fucking issue. Now masks are such an issue that I'm having skin breakouts as a 30-something woman. Change. Masks. Change. The amount of people that need to change their perspective, and the amount of people waking up knowing that they need to do a little bit more work, are a little more willing. I see people waking up a little bit as some of these topics that I've been researching come to light little by little. A lot of it's due to just regular old citizens that are willing to report things. The Democrats this year are talking about the new normal, right? I think that's funny with the death card. The new normal. Like, does anyone really want this to be their new normal? Because I don't want masks to be the new normal. I don't want quarantines and lockdowns and isolation, social distancing. I don't want it to be normal for us not to touch each other. I remember how hard that was for me to get used to. The first month of this was really hard for me not to touch people. We've all been through a lot of change, and as if that wasn't enough, the deep state really put us through the ringer this time. Regardless of what you believe, who you believe it was, what happened, it put us in a state of psychological shock and an instant state of cognitive dissonance where what we feel is so radically different than the information being presented that you have to like sort of adapt yourself to what the reality around you is. But when the reality around you is cuckoo bananas, you can't go cuckoo bananas with the bananas, can you? I don't know. When the world changes, when people say things are changing, this is the new normal, they say that to make it seem like you don't have a choice. They say that to make you realize that you don't matter and that you have to get used to this because they're the authority. What they say, it means more. You don't have to accept the new normal. You can say, fuck the new normal. Like, I'm gonna make my own new normal. I just got a spooky feeling like something just moved in and sucked all the air out of the room. It's like a very silent, it's a silent vampiric spirit that kind of just sucks all the energy and air out of the room. It's very strange. It's very strange to happen just as we were talking about the death card. Very strange. Anyway, that is some of my thoughts about the death card. I'm not scared. I'm not scared. How do you guys feel about the death card? How do you guys feel it relates to change in the world around you every day? Thank you for watching.